Your host, Mark Intrican, founder of the Achieving Unity Success Formula, also known as the Unity Success Formula, that is available at www.unitysuccessformula.com, which is dedicated to success-focused solutions by improving lives through encouraging, inspiring, and including others. Today, I am honored to introduce another truly remarkable guest, Steve Brossman. Steve is joining us all the way from Australia. And let me tell you, Steve knows how to connect people. He knows how to connect people in ways that really matter, personally and professionally. Steve has built several multi-million dollar businesses over the past 43 years. He even invented a product that sold 4 million units in 26 different countries. But what really caught my attention is his passion for helping people succeed through unity in this new AI, artificial intelligent world. He is a 9-time Amazon bestselling author. He is spoken live in 15 countries and has trained over 65,000 entrepreneurs and business owners to stand out in their markets. What I love most about Steve's work is his heart. He also teaches approaches called Heart2Heart. That's heart, the number 2, heart selling, and guided subconscious selling. They help us create real human connections. They help us close sales if you're in business or an entrepreneur with less stress and more authenticity, personally and professionally. In a world where AI and bots are everywhere, Steve reminds us that being genuinely human is our truly greatest advantage. He calls it the human leverage factor. And I think you're going to find this insight both practical and inspiring. But first, before we delve into this insightful discussion, let me briefly introduce my company, Reality Focused Dynamics, where it all began. Look on the first screen, you'll see that we have the free gift for you. And in this free gift, it is the Achieving Unity Guide. And what that does is help us in what we do as far as understanding things, such as hate, prejudice, anger. Anger has no value, and I'll tell you more about that in just a second. It is the guide that helps you understand, helps us all. It's good for me to read and reread. Luckily, I get to update it, but it's one we all need to know about. So if you look at that QR code on the bottom left, you'll get a copy of the Achieving Unity Guide. And as you read it, think about it. I love feedback. Please talk to me, call me, connect with me. On the bottom right, you'll see the Achieving Unity blog QR code. That's the blog where my newsletters go. Go out there, read them. And again, unity is the way we are in everything that we do. Talk more about that with reality in a few seconds. But please check into it. Love to hear from you. This is Achieving Unity Success Formula Weekly Podcast number 65. I hope you've been here for all of them. It is an excellent weekly way for us to think about achieving unity, being together, building togetherness. We are every Wednesday. Right now we're at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. And again, this is weekly. Please put it on your calendar. Come check with us. Come tune in with us each and every week. As you'll see by the logo, it is what it truly reflects what we're all about. Our logo is the core of what we do and how we stand firm. It's a situation that comes from my heart. And sometimes it's just the passion and the culture and the soul of it. Because you notice how focused is in the heart of the logo? That is because everything that we explore, from reality-focused dynamics to success-focused solutions, revolves around clear, intentional direction. In fact, the concept of being focused is so core to us in achieving unity and creating solutions that it is even reflected in our business phone number. Our number is 303-362-8733. And if you watch your dial as you dial it, you'll see that it spells 303 focused on your phone pad. That's right, 303 focused. Easy to remember. Don't forget, give me a call. We believe that by being truly focused on what matters, we can create meaningful change and achieving lasting unity. Reality-focused dynamics and success-focused solutions are a lot to say and a lot to think about. So what do? We show you proven, compassionate strengths and strategies that turn conflict into lasting harmony. That's harmony at home, harmony at work, and harmony in every relationship that matters. Again, I'll say this over and over, personally, professionally, and socially. Relationships are important in everything we do. Are you ever frustrated by tension or arguments, whether it be at home, at work, somebody says something you don't like? My 7-step routine, the roadmap, gives you the tools to move from conflict to collaboration, coming together quickly and confidently. Are you craving stronger trust, stronger connections? We help you discover communication tactics that build that respect, repair relationships, and unify teams and families alike. Because if you don't have that communication, if you're not receiving that respect, work for it, you talk to them about it, you let them know, sometimes you may need to walk away. And we talk about that in our communication processes, how you can make these things work, transform conflict into connection, together, achieving unity. Because as you are, I hope you are achieving or craving stronger trust, stronger connection. We help you discover communication tactics that build that respect that I was talking about, repairs those relationships, and unity with teams or unified teams and families alike. Unity inspires us in our homes. It shapes our society and it transforms workplaces. How would you feel if your workplace worked better, more in unison, more as a unity, more as achieving unity within the workplace? Well, that's what we do because we help you turn frustration into understanding. I know some of us, and I'm one of them too, maybe we've even heard it. Somebody that says, what the frustration? Okay, frustration might not have been the word they used, but it's the one we need to think about because we have to find value in our actions instead of reacting in anger or frustration. Because what I can show you, what we show you through our courses and through our speech, my speech, is that anger holds no value. Absolutely no value. Anger, A-N-G-E-R, the same thing as actions not gaining effective results. That's anger. Actions not gaining effective results. Have you really ever been impressed by someone that was angry and acted foolish? I don't think so. I hope not. We know that life happens in every relationship, and from personal to professional, from parenting time to partnerships, in the boardroom, in the bedroom, in every room in between. We show you how to embrace challenges and encourage a more inspired and inclusive future. That's the EII. If you go out to my blog, you'll see several articles talking about EII, where we are encouraging, inspiring, and including others to make the world a better place. One vision, one goal, achieving unity in every area of life. What is our call to action? And what's the call to action? The CTA. What do we need to do? Well, first, we need to ditch the drama. Get stuff done. We will show you how to turn your life from what may seem, at times, like a dumpster fire. We will help you turn that into a well-oiled machine. in that anger, in that frustration, in those prejudgments or prejudices. Achieving unity is the path to stronger relationships, inspired leadership, and lasting change, which gives us lifetime improvements. We have coaching, consulting, courses, and keynote speeches. Contact us. Contact us today. www.achievingunity.com. What's that phone number one more time? 303-362-8733, which is the same as 303 Focused. Hope you'll call. Looking forward to talking with you. Our Achieving Unity Success Formula, again, is weekly. It comes up every week. So for us, to the end of this year, 2025, next week is Linda Ray. She's going to talk about thriving every day, what we do and how we thrive every day, in spite of some issues that may have come about. She teaches us how to thrive every day. So make sure to be back here next week for Linda. On the 24th, which is Christmas Eve in the United States of America, and on the 31st, which is our New Year's, we're not going to do a live podcast. I will be on here, though, talking about two different subjects. It's planned to be a recorded podcast. I may record it and play it at that time, or I may be on here, maybe talking to you live so I can answer your questions. But it will be me sharing on the 24th, Christmas Eve, about listening in dialogue. That's part of my LID, RID, WID, BID, GID process. It's a framework. Listen in dialogue, write it down, break it down, review its dependencies, get it done. That's what we need to work on, and that's where the listening and dialogue comes from. We'll talk about this more on the 24th and again more in 2026. On 12/31, December 31st, the last day of 2025, before we start a new year, we're going to talk about achieving unity in 2026. What can we do? How can we make it happen? What do we need to do to work together? So join us. Again, it may be recorded. I may be on here live. Seeing how my day goes, we'll be here. Talk to me. And don't forget, all of our podcasts, I forgot to mention that, are on YouTube. So if you are not able to make it for one reason or another, please go to YouTube, look up my name, Mark Entrican, look up Reality Focused. Stay with us. Let's watch these podcasts. Let's get information back. Let's communicate. Let's create unity everywhere we go. But today, I am so excited. This is going to be so interesting about someone who talks about selling yourself. This is about personally and professionally. Steve Brossman. He is a 9-time Amazon best-selling author and one of today's leading innovators in marketing, sales, and human-centered communication. There's so much right there. With more than 20 years of television and video experience, including hosting his own show and serving as an executive director for Warner Brothers. Since 2021, he has consistently earned 6 figures each year purely as a podcast guest. And he now teaches thought leaders how to become dynamic and profitable guests through the podcast. It's the PodGuest, one word, PodGuest Profits Program. Known for frameworks like Heart2Heart, as mentioned earlier, that's heart, the number 2, heart, selling, guided subconscious selling, and the human leverage factor. Steve helps entrepreneurs stand out, connect deeply, and sell with authenticity in an AI-driven world. And I'll give these again at the end of the podcast, but at the bottom right, you'll see what Steve's URLs are, his domains, stevebrossman.com, or you can also connect with him on LinkedIn, which is just the basic LinkedIn URL with Steve Brossman at the end. So we can contact him, connect with him after the podcast. But please, right now, be ready to ask questions. Here we are. Help me welcome Steve Brossman.
Hey, Mark, mate, great to be here. And there was one time zone that you didn't put. You put the East, you put the West. But hey, it's 8 a.m. here in Sydney. So it's a very pleasant, it's a late morning for me. So Yesterday I was up at 4 a.m. training some
Wow.
wonderful people over in America. So I live on your time zone, mate. Great, thank you so much for having me on, and let's get stuck into it.
All right, Steve, thank you. I didn't think about that. That would have been fun, at least for today, to go on ahead and put Australian time zone on there. That's a good thought. I didn't think about that. But I tell you, Steve, you've been through what I think is a remarkable journey, led to becoming a nine-time Amazon best-selling author, host on your own TV. Would you mind just introducing yourself just a little bit and sharing a little bit about those early experiences in TV and video and those things that shaped your approach to communication?
Look, I started off as a skinny, shy kid at school, and I remember my last year of what we call primary school, maybe elementary school for you. I was about 11 or 12 years old. I was asked to read because I was so scared I couldn't speak in public. I was allowed to read 5 lines at a major assembly. We had the Governor General coming in. We were doing a rehearsal, and I got up there. It was my turn. I think the piece of paper was so crumbly and sweaty, and nothing came out. And the principal strode across the stage in front of the whole school, ripped it out of my hands, and said, "I'll give it to the girl to read." Now, I was a sports jock and I got to high school, but I joined the debating team. I thought that's never going to happen to me again. So I was hanging out with the debating guys instead of playing sport and handball over lunchtime. And gradually I got through it. And at the end of high school, I was school captain. I delivered a 15-minute talk without, notes or anything. And it was a good
Wow.
start. And then it kept going and it kept going. And when I got into the health and fitness industry, an opportunity came up because there was a local TV show. And it was a 3 hour show. And I thought they needed to have a kids' workout segment on there. So I put a proposal to them. And within a week, we were basically filming. And
Wow.
I was doing some good live stuff. I could get up in front of kids and do aerobic classes and all of those sorts of things, which really helped me come out in my confidence. And I thought they were going to tell me to tone it down. I had these cameras in front of me. I had the kids here. I had the TV character beside me. And I went into the edit suite as they were starting to edit my section. I thought, damn, that's boring. What was happening on one side of the camera wasn't coming through to the other. And I thought, oh, I need to fix
No.
this. And every week for 2 years, I would do my segment and then I would hang out in the studio for another 2 hours, watching them, watching what was going on, how I could get better and better and better. And it was a fantastic grounding. And then I put a proposal to one of the other national networks. And I said, this is a great show. And it took 3 years pitching shows, rejection, pitching, rejection. And we finally got on and did a pilot, and they said, "Yep, great." And then I had produced, hosted, wrote, did some filming on all of that, and then down the track, Warner Brothers came knocking, and they said, "Look, we've got trouble getting our Warner Brother characters on a show in Australia in this certain classification. What can you do?" So I worked with them, I wrote a show, and they took it and put it on, and it lasted for 12 years. But it was good grounding from being able
Wow.
to not even speak in public, just terrified to be able to learn. But I tell you what, along the line, I had to do some hard yards. And if anybody wants to do some speaking or videos, there's some ways to do it. And it is the most lucrative skill that you can develop, speaking in public, and now more importantly, connecting through the camera. So that's the long way of getting back to where we are now, Mark.
Well, that's why I have you on here because I'm going to learn from you today, Steve, also. I appreciate what you're saying because you did just give me an idea. Why don't I take some of the same ideas that I have right now, talk to the TV stations around here, and develop a show? It's powerful.
Well, the great thing is these days, and I was working with a lady, she came to me and she said, "Steve, I want to do a cooking show and I want to pitch it to the networks." Now, several times I had shows and segments and everything on the networks. And to put it bluntly, I basically got screwed. They
Oh,
took the
sorry.
ideas, they ran with it, and they made the millions of dollars, and I didn't. And I said to this lady, "You're bigger than TV." No, you've got YouTube and you've got all these other digital channels that are out there. Mark, there is a digital channel waiting for you to put your information up there without the pain of actually having to go through a network. There might be a local one that would have it on, but these days you can create your own media, create your own following, and you own it. One of my mentors from many years ago, he said, in business, own the race course,
Why not?
because if you put it on different platforms and different things like that, they can rip the rug out from underneath you. We with our kids show, we were becoming very, very successful very quickly, but they stopped us before we became too successful. They started their own program. Basically, it was a rip-off, but they made $3.4 million in the first year, and we were sitting watching them because they owned the race
Excellent.
course. But
Yeah.
that's okay. Learned a lot through all of that.
And that's so good because you are learning. And so many times
Mm.
we have situations happen to us and we must learn from those. And we may talk about those a bit more later, the ability to learn, because that's another thing, as you just said. You mentioned the television. I thought about the television. That may be, as you were mentioning, old school. There's still, as you
Mm.
mentioned now, with AI and internet and video, there's so many new ways to do that. I may have fallen back to an old culture of how we used to do that. And I can talk to people like you. People can get you at www.stevebrossman.com and find out what we can do today. What's new for today that's going to make we all love to have $3 million. Why not? I love how you talk about that.
Yeah, one of the big things that you sort of touched on early, and I'm sure your listeners want to know what's happening. I've been fortunate to work with one of my clients who works with some of the biggest names in building large agents and bots. And I've been privileged to see what's coming down the line as far as AI. And it's not just the bits and pieces that people are seeing now. Experts are basically saying that 60% of coaches and 50% of professional service providers will not be in business, or they will be severely impacted in the next 2 to 3 years. However, and we spoke about this, yeah, the human leverage factor, people still want to work with humans. And I was on a podcast last night, and we were talking about the human interaction and the no like, and his podcast was no like and trust. The one thing that AI can't do is build trust. They can give great information, they can replicate who you are, but they can't communicate in a way that you will trust them the way that you would trust a human. And that's where we need to look at is how do we create that human leverage factor along the way so that they can tell that it's us. And one of the big things is our energy. And when people connect with me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, or they're referred to me, they'll get a nice little video. It's not perfect. I don't want it to be perfect. If you're at home anywhere and you've got a pen handy, you might want to write this down. It is your imperfections that will accentuate your authenticity.
Your
Bots will
imperfections
try and be
authenticate.
perfect. Yeah. And it's like, well, if you're just you and you're energetic, you show your true energy one way or the other, and you might scratch your forehead. It might do whatever. As people are realizing that that's you. And many times I've looked at some of my stuff that I put out there and I said, oh, like I did an there and I did a hiccup there and I cut my sentence off there. People realize that that's me. And when I do that, they realize, well, that's the real Steve, not a bot trying to be Steve. So when you're doing things, where in your communication with people can you inject some more human, some video, some real video, not pretendy video? And that's a real big thing that people will need to look at in the future.
Like that. I like what you're saying. It's those impacts are so important. And
Mm.
as you talk about that, knowing the very significant impact right now of the internet, it'd be wonderful to hear about the mission and the vision behind your current focus on turning thought leaders and entrepreneurs into in-demand, dynamic, and profitable podcast guests. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, picture this. January 2021, and Australia was the most locked down country on the planet. A lot of my clients were struggling because of all the things that were going on over here, and that just permeated upwards. And obviously, my business was suffering. And I said, I've got to do something about this, otherwise, I'm going to go to the wall. So I decided I'm going to move myself to North America via this wonderful Zoom chair, which has probably got more frequent flyer miles than most people. Um, Zoom frequent flyer miles. And so I went to a networking event. It was a 3-day event. I was getting up at 2 o'clock each morning to do that. And people said, well, I wouldn't do that. And I said, well, yeah, well, you're probably not going to get the success that I'm getting because you won't do that. It's like doing those sorts of things I had to do because I wanted to move via that. So I got introduced to some great people, collaborations and networking, and also onto a couple of podcasts. And I got referred to a couple more, and I started working out a way that I could leverage the podcast to do collaborations with the host to be able to expand my influence over there. And it took my business from 0 to 6 figures in just 10 months, just
Wow.
from podcasting. And interestingly enough, I just thought, well, that's what everybody does. Everybody's doing this and everybody's making money. And one of my clients in my coaching said, Steve, can you help me with some podcast tips? I've been paying to get on 2 to 3 podcasts a week and I haven't got a client in 3 months. And I thought, what? And I listened and I looked and I thought, oh, I know what's going wrong here. And then I started listening to a lot more podcasts and I thought, everybody's doing it the same way. So I gave her some coaching. And within the next 2 weeks, she picked up $2,500 clients on the next 2 podcasts. And I said, well, what I'm doing myself, I know is working, and what I'm coaching other people is working. So I started teaching other people, and that's where PodGuest Profits came from. Now, the biggest thing with that is I'll give two teaching tips here, if that's okay.
Please, thank you.
Most people treat the podcast episode as the destination. We teach that it is the doorway to open opportunities, not the destination. It's the collaboration with the host. Now, the other paradigm shift that most people think, oh my God, I didn't, you're right. The host is a business owner first and a host second. The guest is a business owner first and a guest second. So why is 95, if not 99% of all of the conversations host to guest? Yes, I've got my microphone right. I've got my lighting right. I've got my questions right. Yes, I've got all this right. I've got that right. Great. Yes, I'll promote it. I'll see you on Friday. Fantastic. Great. Whereas we've got ways of being able to excite the host and say, well, hey, listen, we've got some things that we may be able to talk about that might add more value to your people that are not the listeners. There's another group over here. We could add more value there. And once you start opening the doors in discussion, business owner to business owner, the whole world explodes. And that's where people think, oh, I was going through your framework, your pre-call chat framework. And before I could even, agree to what we're going to do, they've said, hey, let's partner up on this. We can put our things together and we can actually use the episode to promote it. So they created a partnership and used the episode to promote it, not just an interview to give out some good information. So that's a major paradigm shift with people that are in business and realizing the other person's a business owner too.
Very good points. I'm taking notes. That's very good points. I like that. Well, look, as you're talking and I'm hearing what you're saying, it
Hmm.
appears that there is a very critical need, as I teach and preach, for connection in today's business environment. Could you go a little bit further into telling us a bit more about what you mean when you talk about that human leverage factor and why it is essential now?
Yeah. And, Mark, nothing's changed. I was on, actually, this is the third podcast within 24 hours that I've actually been on. But last night was all about collaboration. This guy's podcast is all about collaborations. And I took him right back to when I opened the doors of my health club. And I did it. I built the whole thing on referrals, networking, collaborations. When I opened the doors, where were a lot of women spending at least a half an hour to an hour every 6 or 8 weeks talking to somebody? Hairdressers. So what did I do?
Mm.
I went to most of the major hairdressers in my area. I gave the the owner a 3 month membership. I gave all the hairdressers in there a 1 month membership. I looked after them while they're sitting in the chair. Oh, geez, you're looking great. You're looking, oh, you're starting to lose. Oh, yeah, I'm going down to Le Club Physique at Steve's gym. And he's given me a guest pass to give to you if you would like one. That would be great. Fantastic. So we started collaborating with them and helping their clients. Where do overweight, unfit, relatively unhealthy people go on a regular basis? And I know it's not the gym. They go to doctors. But if you're one of those, you go to the doctors and the doctor will say, hey, Mark, you're putting on a bit of weight. You're wheezing a little bit. You're getting bordering on diabetes. You need to go and get fit and lose weight. Okay, 6 months' time. Have you done anything about it? No. 6 months' time. Have you done anything about it? No. You go to the doctor with a sprained ankle, and the doctor says, you need to do something about it. Here is a referral to go to a therapist. What do? I got a piece of paper. I'm going to a therapist. So we wrote referral pads out for all the doctors and say, here is so and so, so and so. Here are their contraindications. You need to be aware of this, that their blood pressure is this. Can you please look after them? We sent them out with envelopes. There was a little letter inside. It was the first release of the Robert Timms coffee bag. Say, hey, read this letter, make yourself a coffee. Send it to the office manager. She got a letter. She got a couple of cups of coffee. Please hand these out to the doctors. Once that collaboration took place, 10% of all of our new members, because we specialized in overweight, deconditioned, and the people that the gyms didn't want, we had 10% of our new members just coming from doctors. Now, that's a collaboration looking after a group of people that would have normally fallen through the cracks. And that's what we're talking about. How can we help other people's people in a way that they get great value? And that's, the human leverage factor is just like, what is the human aspect that we need to work with people on?
Human leverage factor. I like the way that works. Well, with what you're saying, and you talk about the bag of coffee, I'm thinking you mailed all of these, right? Am I catching
Physical,
on to what you're saying?
physical mailing. Yeah. And
Hmm.
why? Because if you go into a doctor's surgery, you would, or back in those days, I mean, I'm talking 1984. Back then, it was
Okay.
pretty revolutionary, lumpy mail marketing back then. And we set the trend of some of that. And you go into a doctor's surgery, and there would be pads. There would be the
Mhm.
dietitian pad, there would be the physiotherapy pad, there'd be whatever pad, and they would write it out and they'd give it to you. What did I want? I wanted my pad sitting on their desk so that if
Mhm.
somebody's overweight and unfit or needs to get fit or rehabilitation, I'm just going to write this out, take this down to the Club Physique, and they'll take care of you. So it was physical mail, and it didn't get lost. Went straight to the office manager. We gave her a coffee to have. Each of the doctors had their own envelope. They ripped them open. Either they put it on the desk or threw it in the bin, one or the other. and it works. It's like, old school, even these days, they say sometimes that the physical mail is getting better results than the emails because I
Oh,
bet you get a heap of junk mail as well. And what
oh my
do?
gosh.
Uh, we look at the subject line very quickly. Now, click delete, 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 delete. Oh, should I have opened that one? Oh, don't worry about it. But you get
Exactly.
something in the mail, it's like, cool. It's Christmas.
And like you're saying, it is something that attracts you because it has that tea bag. It has that
Yeah,
bag that I think you're talking about here. Something that intrigues some interest.
absolutely. And
Okay.
I know you mentioned it earlier. We might get onto it if you want to get onto it now. Self-selling. Uh, a lot of people are fantastic at what they do. They love what they do, but they struggle with sales. In my, let me say, previous life, I sold millions of dollars worth of stuff. I kids club franchises into 5 countries, that environmental product into 26. I could sell stuff. But when it came to me, I wanted to be a coach, a consultant, or whatever. I had to sell me, and yeah, I'd
Exactly.
have a great conversation with Mark and I are getting on really well. And I'm thinking, this is going really well. I've got a client here. And then it's like, oh, damn, I've got to ask for some money. My energy changed.
Yeah.
Your energy changed. There was a little bit of awkwardness. I'm not really sure I'm going to ask for the money. I'm just going to have the good conversation and walk away. And hopefully he might come back and say, can I work with you? And so I was losing sale after sale and, it was just not working. And then I went and did more sales training and it made me feel even worse. Pitch harder, overcome objections. And it's like, oh, I hate that. And then I was actually over in America doing some other training, and this guy walks out with this big schematic, the 7-figure speaker system. And I just looked at it and I thought, ooh, blueprint. Ooh, I know what I can do now. I just looked at it and I thought, and for the rest of the day and a half, I was writing down. And just like you've got behind you, there's a model, there's a way that we use those where we collaborate on and we annotate on and we draw, we co-create a solution. And when we do it the right way, which is heart to heart or guided subconscious selling, there's a whole technique behind it. More often than not, and this happened again this week, they went through the process we had, and it was about 30 minutes into the discussion. He said, Steve, I want to ask the question right now. How do I get started? This looks great. And when you do it the right way and you're collaborating on a solution that what we call the agreed implementable value. See, most people try and sell the box value. Well, I've got 47 videos in here and I've got 3 consultations and I do this. And, you buy all your PPCs and SEOs and all of those sorts of things. They're selling the box and they can take the box and go shopping. Is this box cheaper than this one? Is this, or the agreed implementable value? Well, when we work together, we're going to get these sorts of results. Can you see that happening? Yeah. What would that mean to you? When we collaborate and they get to a point of, this makes so much sense. I have to work with you. How do we get started? And that is the guided subconscious selling, where their subconscious is doing all the hard work and you're just taking them along for the journey, creating solutions, helping them understand what they're going to do with the payoffs. It might be some extra time, it might be some extra money, it might be taking the kids to Disneyland. It's like, now, Mark, can you see how we're going to get the kids to Disneyland a lot quicker? Yeah. And that's how your guided subconscious selling works. And it takes the stress off selling you instead of thinking, sort of saying, hey, I'm good, buy me. It's like, well, hey, look, this is the solution that we can get if we work together. Does it make sense we get started? Certainly does.
Today.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because I hate selling. I love helping people. I love
Hmm.
creating solutions that are far beyond people's wildest dreams, but I don't want to go in and pitch. So that's the
It,
that's the biggest thing there.
on another subject, I know what you're talking about
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I
let's
used
go.
to, I was in politics for a long time, even running for office. And that was the hardest part about the job, asking for donations. I had
Mm.
just such a difficult time, but needless to say, I didn't win. But that's another story. We'll get on that another day. But as you're talking there, Steve, I like what you're bringing forward because with experts predicting significant, it's amazing today, but significant upheaval for coaches and service providers due to this AI tsunami, what particular mindsets or approaches do you have that best prepares businesses to not just survive, but truly thrive in this kind of a marketplace?
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant question. And it's something that to understand what's going on is to understand actually how things are happening, and they are exactly the same as a tsunami. Tsunami's got three phases. The water tsunamis have got three phases. An event happens, as in an earthquake or something offshore. That's what's happened over the last 18 months or so. The AI world has happened. It's here, it's accessible, and people are dabbling with it. Then there's the recede. If you've seen what happens in a real tsunami, the water goes out first. And people are running around looking at all the different rock pools that they couldn't see before. All of these new things, we call them the bright, shiny objects, they're looking out and they're getting dragged further and further out because they've never been there before. And then there's the inundation. There will be a point when there are so many people that are using AI, and most of them will be using it badly. That's what's going to sweep the people away.
Hasn't that
It's
already started?
some of it has started, but it's still people that are falling down they're falling down into the rock pools. Um,
Okay.
and people that are using it badly, it's they're now finding that the world out there is so crowded with cookie cutter AI generated marketing. You can put in 10 words, your website, push a button, and you've got 12 months worth of content. If you're similar to somebody else, it'll sound similar to somebody else. But the interesting thing is 93.4% of people still prefer to deal with a human than an AI bot. So where you can create that human factor, that human leverage factor, a coach. Now, I've seen people now that are using coaching bots in their organization to almost coach everything, even mental health and things like that. Investment strategies are all coming to the fore. There are going to be groups of people that will use them because it's cheap and nasty. They will suffer the consequences.
Yeah.
But where you can provide that human touch. Now, my philosophy is how can you use AI to free you up from the stuff that holds you back and elevates you to do more of the stuff that helps you stand out? Now, when you stand on AI and stand out, you will surf the tsunami. If you stand behind it, hide behind it, you'll get washed away because that's where everybody else is hiding. So we still need to be more of us. How do we be more of us? How do we connect with people? How do we put that human part in? And that's the big thing there because look, it's so funny. I did a workshop the other day and said, look, AI is coming. Some of you, it was for the finance industry. Now, one of the fractional CFOs said, oh, we're benefiting because we're fractional CFOs. We can look after a number of companies now. And the internal full-time CFOs are going to be, have already started being laid off. And I said, do you think this is as good as the AI is going to get? What's going to happen now that you can manage 10 companies when it comes that somebody could manage 50 companies? What's going to happen to you then? What's going to happen when this next evolution happens? Because they've only seen, oh, we're benefiting from this, but they're thinking, well, yeah, it's going to stop here. No. And you're going to think, well, okay, I'm benefiting now, but how do I protect myself from the next level?
I like what you're saying. And from listening to what you're saying and how you help people, it must be incredibly rewarding for you to see the clients break those sales records or triple their conversions in a short time. So how you work with your human to human, What's a common initial barrier that you see to that human first selling that you find people and the entrepreneurs need to overcome?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there's several parts to that. The first part is they are so excited and fixated on what they do that that's what they like to talk about. Here's what I do. And the time that I hear over and over again, if they just understand what I do, they'll buy from me. Well, there are four levels of understand. There are four stages of understand in a sales process, and nobody teaches it this way. The bottom one is they understand what I do. The first one, and this comes from, I work with two fantastic companies in neuroscience and human behavior research. 47.5% of people who enter a sales conversation don't really know what the real problem is, or they're not stating what the real problem is. And you've probably worked with heaps of people that have come to you and said, Mark, I need help with this. But when you delve into it, they actually have the problem over here and we need fixing there. So the first understand is to help the person understand what the real problem is, what the real cost financially, emotive, or practically. So a cost is not always just a physical, numerical dollar cost.
Right.
Once they understand, oh, that's my real problem. Now, because you're the person that's helped them understand that, the next level of understanding is that they understand that you understand them. When they get to the point of, oh, thank God, I finally found somebody who understands me, then you're the invited guest slash expert into their head, in their heart. It's like, oh, they've helped me get to this point. I trust this person more than anybody else because they've taken the time to get to this point. Then they need to understand what the real value of working with you is. And that's what I said before. It's the agreed implementable value. What we get when we walk out the door, so to speak, not what we do. So that's important that they know what they're going to get out of it. And then the last thing is, sure, they may need to know how you do what you do. But most people are so excited about what they do. It's just like, well, sit down, shut up, let me tell you everything that I do because I love talking about it. It's like, doesn't get the sale.
So
So when you go through that order and start with helping them understand first, you really get that know, like, and trust factor, and it becomes an enjoyable conversation. If you're a person that wants to spend the time on those first two, then they will see you as genuine and somebody who's there to help them, not just go straight to the, here's what I do, here's the pitch. And that's all very
I like
conscious selling, not subconscious selling.
I like what you're saying. That makes a lot of sense. It might be helpful, I think it would be helpful for our listeners if they could understand a little bit better how they might best identify their own unique human leverage factor to be able to maximize their success in this competitive landscape. Can you help us out a little bit there? How do we identify that human leverage
Um,
factor for ourselves?
that's really hard because there's a thing called the curse of proximity. We are always too close to it ourselves. It is. I work with people, and I pay people to kick me in the bum and think, Steve, you should have thought of this. I was like, you're right, I should have, but I'm too close to it. And that's the thing, it's the curse of proximity. However, I will give them a really good tip. Go back to 4, 5 or more of your most recent, most successful clients and have a look at what they've said, whether you can recall verbally or whether it's a written testimony, and have a look what they've said in their words. Oh, working with Mark was fantastic. We achieved this, this, and this. Now, that's what they believe they are paying for, and that's what they believe is the biggest result that they got. Not you, them. When you can listen and hear about you in your prospects and or clients' words and mind, it's like, so that's what I do. Like 15 years ago, I was teaching authority marketing, how to speak and write a book and get on stage and do videos. For 7 years, my people were saying, Steve, this is the best sales training ever. And I kept saying, don't you dare
Congratulations.
call. No, I said, don't you dare call me a sales trainer. Don't you dare call. I just did not want to be one of those, slick back, mustache, greasy hair type of people, the salesperson. I was like, and we did a mastermind just here in Mossman. I think there was only 12 people there, and seven of them on their video basically said, just spent the day with Steve in our mastermind, best sales training we've ever done. It's really going to help this, this, and this. And I thought, you know what? I probably should listen to my people. And I thought, okay, what is it that they're saying that other people need to hear? And how do I say what I do in my clients' words to help more of those people see what it is that I do? So if you're listening at home and you're wondering, what is my uniqueness? We got a whole process. We call it the Change the Game program. Got a whole process to really peel back all the onion rings. And there's always little bits hidden in there. But if you listen to what your previous clients have said that you do and do well, then that's a really good place to start.
That sounds like one of the best, the great place to start, like you're talking about. And as you're talking about the heart of moving from a transactional relationship to what you've created with your heart-to-heart relationship, how how does the listeners start? Do you have a particular story or maybe another anecdote? I like that last story you told, but how do you move from that transactional to the heart-to-heart relationships so easily?
Yeah, because everybody, and you brought this up, stories. Everybody is told you got to tell your story. You got to tell your origin story. You got to tell your background story. You got to tell your signature story. I hate all that. They're all static stories. They're all stories about you. They're all stories about your journey. We teach the bankable story, and it starts with the audience. Who is the audience? What are they feeling right now? And what is the slither of my story that connects with them in the first 40 seconds? So, in the first 40 seconds, the framework of our story is to create the JLM effect, the just like me. So, you say it started on this. And yeah, there might have been people who started just like me who was nervous and couldn't speak. It was like, yeah, I was like him as a kid. I can't speak. I couldn't do this. That was the JLM effect of that story. And then you invite them and take them on a journey. You take them on an emotional journey where in the end, in their mind, they're going to make that logical decision to deal with you. Now, at the end of it, there's a couple of things in the middle of the story. So you've invited them in and you're taking them on the journey with you. And at the end, it's the old when Harry met Sally effect. It's like, well, I'll have what she's having. You get through, you talk about the struggles, the aha, the breakthrough, the system you've created. And here is how I'm helping people. And I'm just somebody the other day, I helped this, and they got this result. And they're on the car ride with you. And it's like, they've gone through what I've gone through. They are going to have empathy for me. That's the first part. This person will have empathy. They've gone through the struggle. They've created something that I think I want. They've helped somebody just like me to get results that I want. I'm in. So, one of the first things is what is your story and how do you end it by having somebody say, well, I want what you've been doing for other people. When you turn your story away from this is the struggles that I have done and this is this, look at me. That's what we call a static story where I listen to it and say, that was interesting. Yeah, Mark's had an interesting life. Out the door. Doesn't do anything.
Mhm.
Whereas we talk, and if you want to write something down at home, inspired desirability. Does your story create inspired desirability? Not inspiration about what you have done, but inspire me to want to work with you.
Beautiful. I love that. I tell you, Steve, thank you so much. This hour has passed so fast. I
Wow.
just have enjoyed talking with you in this. But before we wrap up, if you don't mind, let's kind of go over again. I'm going to give your websites out again. I gave them earlier, but it'd be wonderful to know how's the best way our audience can connect with you and learn more about your programs. your services and how to access the valuable resources on your website.
Yeah, look, the easiest way, because there's so many fast-moving pieces, we've got some individuals, we've got other things. We've actually got some great breakthrough training tomorrow. So this is live. If you're listening now and you want to be booked and bankable, the little thing up there, how to get booked on more stages, how to become more bankable and earn more, send me an email. That's always the easiest place to start. Or connect on LinkedIn. It's Steve Brossman, Bross or SSMAN. And my email is exactly the same, steve@stevebrossman.com. Drop me an email and say, hey, what do you got coming up, Steve? What have you got best for me? I've got a lot of different great free resources. I do back pocket guides. And if you say, hey, listen, I'm more interested in this, say, great. Here's one on sales. Here's one on podcasting. Here's one on something that. And I'd be more than happy for your people to make available some great resources for them just to get started.
Great, Steve. Thank you so much. That's just it, stevebrossman.com, and his email, steve@stevebrossman.com. Wow. Steve, what a truly powerful and energizing conversation. Again, this is with the amazing Steve Brossman. Steve, thank you so much for being here today, and your insights, and especially for me in dealing with unity, but on human connection and sales have been truly valuable to everyone that's listening and everyone that will listen. We are during the day, so sometimes it's tough for people to get here, but I know our listeners are going to walk away with practical tools that they can use right away. And if they can send you that email quickly, get on to your programs that are going on tomorrow. Get that going. Because what really
Mate,
stands out to me,
I,
go ahead,
I
please.
thank you for what you're doing, buddy. Keep up what it is
Thank
and
you.
sharing this with everybody. So we do appreciate you.
Thank you, Steve, because what really stands out to me is your message about staying human in what is a very AI world, that artificial intelligence, because you show us that the key to success is not just about technology. And a lot of people are confused about that today. It is, and it continues to be, about understanding people. It is about building those true, real relationships. And it's about creating trust that only, as you mentioned, humans can create. Your heart-to-heart selling approach gives us permission. Your program gives us permission to be authentic, to connect deeply, and to serve others in ways that feel good for everyone. So I also want you to just thank you for sharing your story with us and what all that you've done, from inventing products to hosting TV shows to training thousands of entrepreneurs across or around the globe. You have lived what you teach. And see, that's amazing in itself. Your passion for helping people, helping them rise above the noise, really shines through. It's so appreciated.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
You bet. Selling ourselves, again, personally and professionally, is a mindset of value. And it's not just an ideal, is it, Steve? Knowing all sides to these important concepts, like communicating heart to heart with others, as we call it, in unity, shows us that our success focused strategies are a daily choice for each of us to lead with empathy, act with integrity, and uplift others along the way. And this is a service that we can share with others at no cost. Because as we gain more value for ourselves, we benefit from those actions. So if anything about achieving unity resonated with you today, follow that feeling. Reach out and connect with me. www.achievingunity.com, www.markintrican.com. Connect with me. 303 Focus. Call me. And with each inspiration that Steve shared with you again today, connect with him. As he said, he's got information out there free of charge. Go out to stevebrossman.com, go out to the LinkedIn, Steve Brossman, send him an email, steve@stevebrossman.com. He has the information. He has the way for us to communicate and be heart to heart in unity together. So, Steve, again, thank you so much. Any last words before we close?
No, I think you've covered it so well. In fact, what you said touched on a saying that I have. A lot of people say, practice what you preach. I live it the other way. I only preach what I practice.
I like that. Preach what you practice. Excellent, Steve. Thank you so much. So until
Thanks,
next
buddy.
time, my pleasure. Thank you. Let us continue, though. Once this podcast is over, please watch the recording. But let's all transform that complexity into execution, our chaos into connection, and our purposes into action. Let us continue achieving unity. www.achievingunity.com. Call me, 303-362-8733. 303 focused on your keypad, because we can stay focused on all the things that Steve talked about. And they're available to you from Steve by turning that chaos into connection as we continue to achieve unity by harnessing the power of encouraging, inspiring, and including others in building better businesses, better lives, and a better world. Thank you all. This has been Mark Intrican with the Achieving Unity Success Formula, reminding you that life is truly what we make it. So let us sell that value, and Steve was talking about selling ourselves, sell that value in ourselves, and make life awesome together in unity. Thank you all so much. Again, Steve Brossman, thank you for being here. Thank you for
Cheers,
your
mate.
message, helping others. Thank you for your time and your commitment. Hope to see you all again next week. But until then, cheers.
Cheers.
Steve, again, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. That was awesome. I think you opened
Mate,
up
thank you.
so many eyes.
It was great. I got to run out the door or run off the
But
chair. But
I,
thank you, mate. The interesting thing is, normally I get, hey, so when's this one going to be played? Nope, it was.
this is live. But it will be
Yeah,
on
that's
YouTube.
it.
So I will send it to
Yeah.
you. I'll send you a copy. I'll
Send
send
me the
you the
link
link.
when
I'm
you're done.
sorry.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That,
It could
that'd
be as
be,
late as probably Friday.
that's all right.
So
That's easy. That's good.
appreciate it.
Have a wonderful afternoon, evening,
Thank
and
you,
we'll
Steve. You
talk
have
to
a
you
great
soon.
day since it's your morning. We'll talk
Yep.
soon.
Cheers,
All right.
buddy. Bye.
Cheers. Thank you, Renee. That was excellent. Also, thank you for catching that one time I got a sentence off. Did you turn off the Facebook? Are you there? You're on mute. Renee? Renee? Renee, you're on mute. Are you there?